Hare Krishna. My name is Bal Narayanan and I am from the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And now I am going to discuss about this topic called is spirituality and intelligence. Or in other words, people who practice spirituality, are they intelligent, or is it an intelligent thing to practice spirituality? Okay, let me first explain what spirituality is, and let me also explain what intelligence is in layman's terms. Spirituality can be defined as knowing about your spirit soul is spirituality. Knowing that you are not this body, but you are an eternal spiritual soul is spirituality. So by knowing that you are a spirit soul, you have to understand your soul. You have to understand yourself, which is self-realization. So when you try realizing yourself, you realize God as well. That's a process. That's the formula. When you try realizing yourself, you realize God. There is a process. When you chant, you realize yourself, or you realize God, you realize yourself. So the process of realizing God and yourself, self-realization or God realization, is spirituality. So why do we do it? Why does a person do it? What's the necessity of a person doing it? As I said, spirituality is knowing that you are a spirit soul. Let's take this an example. A person who's not doing it. When a person who's not into spiritual life, or a person who's not into spirituality, when a person is not into spirituality, he thinks he's body. He thinks he's an Indian. He thinks that's his family. He thinks he's from a particular caste. So he maintains his life, he carries on his life thinking that he is his body. So what he does is, he maintains his family. He thinks maintaining his family is all his life, or some think serving the nation, that's his life, because he believes that he belongs to one particular nation. Some think they belong to a particular community, so they serve the community. And some think their friends around, relatives around them, so serving them, that's the aim of their life. So this is the goal they have in life. So what happens ultimately? They don't think of death. So they die eventually serving these less important things. But spirituality is knowing that you're going to die anytime and you have to be prepared for it. So when you practice spiritual life, so you die, when you practice spiritual life, you practice thinking of God all the way through. So when we die, we think of God, and we pass away going back to Godhead. Okay, this is spirituality. And intelligence is foreseeing something, for example, let's say an ant. An ant foresees an unforeseen event, like an ant foresees a catastrophe like rain, during which time it cannot look for food. So it stores food beforehand, so that it need not look for food during the rainy season or during unfavorable season. So that's intelligence. There are times where you cannot do things properly, so you do it beforehand. You'll be prepared for that. You'll be prepared for the situation. So a person who is following spirituality is preparing himself for death. It is the highest intelligence. When a person is preparing himself for death, and he knows for sure that what happens after death, and he is prepared for death, and he makes himself a successful person. So that is intelligence, and that is spirituality. So following spirituality requires a lot of intelligence. Thank you. Hare Krishna.